Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lock the door here, see if any of the demigods want to come, fill up the rest of the seats.
Yay.
Okay, so,
I'm just averting my eyes. First, I can't look at him because we know what happens.
got a lot of films in there. So,
I just have the veil of protection between them.
here. Now. Now. So, I think more people will come, but it doesn't matter that there's not many here now. Marilyn kind of got the MO late, and so she said she will come for next week. And Sean said he was coming, although he's late. And we want to try to keep these things tight, so everyone has things to do and like that. So we don't want to have to wait for everyone. And if we have an hour, then we want to try to really pack it with 5 minutes of kirtan, and then have a nice class. So if you're 10 or 15 minutes late, then you almost miss half of it. So. But I have to tell that to you because you're already here. I got to tell that to them.
We'll pass the word on.
Yeah. It was kind of funny because, Jarrell was reminding me, that I said I would do something else. And, like all of us, unless we're, kind of pushed or prodded a little bit, there's so many things that can fill our lives. And so I said, oh, yeah, okay. And he said, we'll start at this time. And then he reminded me just a couple days ago, because we're starting this week. And I said, oh, we are? And I said, oh, okay. What did I say I was going to do again? And so I looked at this big binder that Gangaya had, and it was divided up like that. So, I was looking, and I thought, gosh, this is kind of a lot of a lot of reading, and that's going to be the whole thing. We're just going to all read, and then we're going to run out of time. So maybe I should ask Gayev, since he created this, how was he teaching it? So just this morning, I asked him if, how we were going to do that reading and discuss it and have everything within a very short time period. And then he told me the secret. So the secret is that you actually take the lessons home and you read it during the week, and you even answer the questions at the end. And then when you come back, then everyone's refreshed, or not, well, hopefully refreshed, but you've read the paper, and then there'll be a nice lively discussion with our answers and with our understanding and clarifying, things like that. And that way it doesn't, we can get it more accomplished. So, after looking it over and like that, then I saw that was, indeed the best way to do it, since that's the way he intended it to do. But we will also have, we'll just kind of learn together, but I think I think probably most of us will read it on Saturday, but that's all right, before the class. But at least we're familiar with it, so if we go over some different parts, then, everyone will have that background there. And that way, it's not all the work on me, but it's the work on you also to read and get ready. So I wanted to beforehand just take this time and talk about what it is that we're going to learn and why we're going to learn it, and just to sort of set the stage. And also I wanted to go over a verse, every week. And for those that can memorize the Sanskrit, that's good, but at least become, familiar and try to memorize the English. And that way, there's only 700 verses. If we had classes for 700 weeks, we would practically have Bhagavad Gita memorized. How's that sound?
Sounds daunting.
Yes.
We might be able to say, I'm not sure if I could have it memorized.
It's a little over 14 years.
Is that, oh, you already calculated that?
Okay, over 14 years. No. We'll just pick out some of the prominent verses that are very good for, for preaching and for our own understanding. So we'll go over that, as well as some of the other standard, prayers and songs and these things. So let me just kind of go over here what this is. This is called Applying Spiritual Principles to Your Busy Life. So this is addressing all of us. At an ISKCON conference several years ago, an international group of devotees recognized the challenges faced by people new to Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada left over 70 books, and there are so many mantras, songs, and other aspects to know. How does a person unable to move into the temple learn all that? And besides, who can find the time for studying? For many people, responsibilities such as family and work take up almost all his time. With a desire to help people learn about Krishna consciousness along with how to apply it to their lives, a team of conference attendees began developing, right, Krishna, a formal curriculum. Although the original team did not finish the project, others, such as Govinda Prabhu, stepped in to assist, and as a result, the curriculum is now complete. So it's divided up. 4 lessons, 6 lessons, 8 lessons, 10 lessons. So these are the kind of things that we're going to be going over in the whole course. So ISKCON's tradition, ancient, time-tested, and relevant to today's world. Krishna conscious philosophy, how to apply it, spiritual practices for spiritual growth and strength, devotional lifestyle, creating an environment favorable to spiritual progress, develop relationships for spiritual support, overcoming obstacles on the path, and making a difference, how to share Krishna consciousness with others. So, in 18 and 28 easy lessons. So, these lessons are based on some of the best articles from over 35 years of ISKCON's Back to Godhead magazine and other ISKCON sources, and many people assisted, and it's not necessary to take all the courses to gain practical insight into living more spiritually, although the courses should be taken in sequence. So, Okay, so he's saying the attendees is particularly for, well, for everyone, but for people that live outside the temple, because, they're not hearing the classes every day. And even when we hear class every day, we certainly learn a lot, but this is more like systematic and going over, different aspects, particularly for devotees who, are serious in seeking initiation. Because somehow or other, once one gets initiated, then others think that you're a very advanced person. We just had one example, we won't mention any names, but recently in India, and someone said, "What's your name?" And they said the name, and they said, "Wow, you want to do artik, you want to, do this or do that," not realizing that 6 months ago, they're smoking and, different things. But somehow or other, when you get that spiritual name, there's a, heavy burden of responsibility to know things about Krishna consciousness, be able to answer questions, be able to, know, the basic, the prayers, the lingo, not just that's kind of, but, like certain philosophical understanding and questions. We went over a lot of that during the guru, so, that's there. And this will build on that. There's a little bit of, I wouldn't say repetition, but, it starts out, about Prabhupada and, honoring him, and then, of course, it moves on. So, it's good for us. And, some of us, may like to read and study on our own, and others, just like I was saying before, don't have the time, between the job and the kids and the dog and the work and the, family and the other responsibilities, then, it's kind of last on the list. Sometimes, I go to take rest and it's, after 9 and I open the book and literally I don't get more than like 2 sentences and then, I'm not out. So, sometimes the spiritual practices such as reading is put, on the back burner, and then it, it's pushed to the very end, and then, it doesn't get done. But we all have a desire to do that, so that's why, these courses are created, and most importantly, we have the association of devotees because it encourages us. And then when something's expected, then you have to deliver. If no one's gonna ask you or bother you or something, then you can kind of like, not take up that challenge. But when we meet and make a commitment to coming and like that, then it encourages us. And sometimes because it forces us, to understand and try to learn and apply, and in association, and it's very sweet and enjoyable. So, here's something else that he wrote. When you complete this lesson, so this is divided up. This is four lessons we're going to be taking. So, just to whet our appetite on what we'll know at the end. When you complete this course, you will know. You'll be able to answer questions about ISKCON and its connection to an ancient spiritual tradition. List at least 2 of Srila Prabhupada's main accomplishments. Of course, we already knew that from our last course. Answer some questions about Prabhupada's life. Plus, we'll be able to explain something about Krishna. We'll be able to describe the recommended method for spiritual enlightenment, explain what is the purpose of human life, define the 3 divisions which constitute the science of God realization, describe a non-sectarian way to test the effectiveness of religion, and last but not least, we'll have know some basic mantras, songs, and prayers, and recommended literature to read. So there it is. First, what I want to do is, I think we're overzealous here with all our papers that we unless I'm not going to pass that out yet first. I'm going to have some verses here.
The first page has a couple on it.
Yeah.
This is this, which is
Some of these have the first page and some of them didn't.
Oh, I see.
There's 4 of them again.
Oh. All right, you want to pass these out? So these are 2 verses from the 9th chapter. The 9th chapter is called the most confidential knowledge, and we've learned 1 or 2 from the 9th chapter. The 9th chapter and the 7th chapter probably quoted very much. So they're very, very nice verses. So just together, I thought we'd go over the first one. And then hopefully this week, we could have time to go over this verse. Yad karoshi yad ashnasi yad jajosi dadasi yat yad tapasyasya yad tapasyasi kunteya tad karusha mad arpanam yad karoshi yad ashnasi yad jajosi dadasi yat yad tapasyasi kunteya tad karusha mad arpanam yat, whatever. I'm sorry. Karoshi, you do. Yat, whatever. Ashnasi, you eat. Yat, whatever. Jujoshi, you offer. Dadasi, you give away. Yat, whatever. Yat, whatever. Tapasyasi, austerities you perform. Kunteya, O son of Kunti. Tat, that. Kurusha, Kurushva, make. Mat, unto me. Arpanam, offering. So there should be at least a couple familiar words in there. Of course, Kunteya, we hear that a lot from the Bhagavad Gita, so that's an easy one. It's, calling Arjuna the son of Kunti. And tapasyasi, so tapasya means, of course it says that they're austerities. Sometimes if someone's like a yogi or a sage, he's called a tapasvi, because one who performs austerities. So I'll read the translation. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Such a beautiful verse. Please repeat. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that, these are the things we normally do. We eat, we give some charity. We do these things anyway. A normal person will do these things, but if we do them for Krishna, if we do them with the mood of offering them to Krishna, then that austerity that we do is for our spiritual benefit, eternal spiritual benefit. But if someone does these things and doesn't offer them to Krishna, then the benefit is just as limited as, the person that's accepting the charity is, getting, a couple dollars on the street for someone that's homeless or something. That's, an act of charity. But, as we spoke about before, charity in the mode of ignorance, and perhaps he may use that for some bad purpose, or, then we actually have to share in bad karma, trying to do some good karma. So, it becomes, entangling. But whatever we do these things naturally, then do them for Krishna, and then it becomes to our great spiritual benefit. And we should also train ourselves that, what we do these things, then, naturally it's an offering to Krishna. It should come, like second nature. That, when we're, honoring Prashadam, offering it to Krishna, when we're speaking, offering the words to Krishna, when we're doing any type of austerity, whether it's chanting, getting up early in the morning, or any of the other things, then we do that for Krishna, and then he's pleased. So it's a very beautiful verse. So we want to try to go over this verse and see how much we can get done for next week on this particular verse. Okay. Now, we will pass these booklets out. So these booklets are for you to take home. They're supposed to last for 4 weeks. You also can write in them. And you should write in them because there's some questions at the end. So let's pass them out first, and then.
That's what everybody has.
Oh, no. You already passed one. You didn't pass them out.
use this one too, right?
Mhm.
Another meeting. No, we got So the first page, if you, this was missing in some, but this is just for our own benefit, recommended reading. And, you know, in these mantras, of course, every kirtan that we have, whether it's an hour kirtan, whether it's 24-hour kirtan, or whether it's a 5-minute kirtan, we always start with Prabhupada's pranam mantra. So that, you know, we should all be familiar with that and memorize that. This is also the mantra that we say when we, if you're doing it properly, when we enter the temple room, when we, you know, see devotees, when we leave the temple room, when, you know, we do these things. So this mantra to Prabhupada, offering respects. Later, when you take initiation, then you still say this first mantra to Prabhupada, and the second one then you say to your own guru. But we use these mantras for offering prashadam, for kirtans, for everything. So, of course, these are Prabhupada's mantra 1 and 2, and then Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and then, of course, the Hare Krishna mantra. So these are just there for, you know, for your benefit, and to, you know, sing along if you don't know them. And because we say them so much, it's, you know, easy to remember these. So, the first lesson, which we will read and get ready for those of you that came in late, this is homework based in the sense of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, anyone that's gone to college to think you have to do 5 pages of homework in a week is nothing. So no one should be shocked or upset. This is pretty really good. So what we want to do is how the lessons work actually is that for next week, we read this first one and answer the questions, and then we go over certain parts, discuss it, and highlight the important things, and that way it's very interactive. You know, like what did, you know, what resonated with you the most? What did you find interesting? What did you learn that you didn't know? What were you happy you went over? You know, things like that, and then we discuss and talk about it. And then also answering of a few different questions here, which is only like 7 on one page. I think there's two more on another page. Just to, you know, help us, you know, sometimes if you're just reading and everyone's reading, it's like easy to zone out. But, you know, if you're reading on your own and trying to comprehend it and you have to answer questions, then, you know, it'll be more rich for discussion. So, does anyone have any questions or comments about that? And like I said before, that not everyone heard, but I have to repeat, is that I didn't know until this morning that this was the format. I was thinking we'd all read this and go over this, so you know, there's nothing I could do because I learned late the actual process from the person that created this course, and it makes sense. So,
Beginning of that is it starts in the middle of the sentence. So it's just, I looked around and I couldn't figure out where.
well, you know, I was thinking, I looked at that, but page 3 or page 2?
Well, the second page, it's
Where's
page 3
John
at the
Hart?
bottom. There's a number 3 at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
So when you start that page,
Well, I was thinking that it kind of made sense, saying we feel the presence of Krishna as we actually make progress, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I don't know why the questions are put right there, but
There's a page missing.
There is?
Because you have, he printed it
Oh,
out.
you've got the whole binder.
Yeah.
okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, the page number shows it.
This is the way it's in the notebook. There's
Yeah.
here. That's page. This This is the first page we have.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then the second page is
Sure.
got the setting up on it.
Excellent. And then this page is missing.
And then message me,
Which one's missing?
no, I think it's on one more page. No. This is in there. Here's this. It looks like you missing some pages.
That's highly possible.
Or those are.
It'll be this way then. There's obviously something missing here though.
Oh, let's see, there is an order.
Such as the growing pains.
The pages are really labeled funky because
We had all kinds of
First-
stickers on them and,
the first page of each lesson has lesson 1 on the bottom. If they would have repeated that on each page, then you would know where's lesson 1, where's lesson 2. And they did. So Jorge, I think maybe some pages are not with the right lesson. So, couldn't tell this without looking at this.
but I mean, we took out in
No.
Gangea's, we took out the binder
Why don't
and
we just put them?
Yeah. Oh, I know, I see what happened here. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goes after L1B,
Yes.
not after L1A.
Oh, so the first thing should be that he came with the message of the absolute truth. And that's why these
Yeah, that comes,
questions,
those are.
it's just not in order, it's okay.
You can take these, page 2, 3, and 4, the second, third, and fourth pages, and put them in after L1B.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense because they have these two questions here that are asked before you read the article. So that's-
The bottom of the pages say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take those out and put them after L1B.
So it's L1A and then L1B or L1B and L1A?
L1A comes first, but it's just one page by itself. And then you're supposed to start L1B.
Well, it won't really matter. Because it's all covered in the first lessons.
Yeah, we just in the wrong order. You get it?
No. I'll let you fix it for me.
Okay. You take this table out, I'll fix it.
All right.
We also want to include in our hour class continuation of the Vaishnava etiquette as well. So we'll have a lot to do. So we're also requesting that everyone try, I know there's circumstance, especially some of you live far away, that we want to try to get here on time so that we don't have to repeat the same things for the others and we don't want anyone to miss anything. So if we try to keep it tight to an hour, then we try to do our time.
Is it possible to get a copy of the etiquette book? Does it exist?
Yeah, I don't think it exists online, no. These were two that I got, two different ones, but they,
Did you get this in India?
I got it in India, yeah.
No, it's pretty hefty thing here. $85 pages. Very chunky.
should be available online, but I haven't seen it. So you wanna go, instead of shuffling the papers, you wanna go into that this week?
Oh.
Unless we wanna start to read together a little bit of this, which we could do.
Well, the first one's only 2 pages, so we could just read
No, it's all the way to,
No, it's just for 2 pages.
It's just this 2 pages. Is there another one? It's just this one. It's the short statement on the philosophy of Krishna
Right.
consciousness.
yeah, okay, so let's read that together. So we might go around, so. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, is a worldwide community of devotees practicing Bhakti Yoga, the eternal science of loving service to God. Oh, that's a nice definition. The eternal science, what's Bhakti Yoga? The eternal science of loving service to God. The society was founded in 1966 by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, a pure devotee of God, representing an unbroken chain of spiritual masters originating with Lord Krishna himself. The following 8 principles are the basis of the Krishna consciousness movement. So, Gerald?
You like the first 2?
Yeah.
By sincerely cultivating the bona fide spiritual science, we can be free from anxiety and come to a state of pure, unending blissful consciousness in this lifetime. 2. We are not our bodies, but eternal spirit souls, parts and parcels of God, Krishna. As such, we are all brothers, and Krishna is ultimately our common Father.
3. Krishna is the eternal, all-knowing, omnipresent, all-powerful, and all-attractive personality of Godhead. He is the seed-giving Father of all living beings, and He is the sustaining energy of the entire cosmic creation. 4. The absolute truth is contained in all great scriptures of the world. However, the oldest known revealed scriptures in existence are the Vedic literatures, most notably the Bhagavad Gita, which is the literal record of God's actual words.
We should learn the Vedic knowledge from a genuine spiritual master, one who has no selfish motives and whose mind is firmly fixed on Krishna. All that we eat should be first offered to Lord Krishna with a prayer. In this way, Krishna accepts the offering and blesses it for our purification.
7, we should perform all our actions as offerings to Krishna and do nothing for our own sense gratification. 8, the recommended means for achieving the mature stage of love of God in this age of Kali or quarrel is to chant the holy names of the Lord. The easiest method for most people is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Continue?
Yeah.
I'm chanting the Hare Krishna. God has an unlimited variety of names. Some of them, Jehovah, Adonai, Buddha, Allah, are familiar to us, while the names Krishna and Rama may be less so. However, whatever name of God we may accept, all Scripture enjoins us to chant it for spiritual purification. Muhammad counsel, glorify the name of your Lord, the Most High. This is from the Quran, 87.2. St. Paul said, everyone who calls upon the name of the Lord will be saved. It's from Romans. Lord Buddha declared, all who sincerely call upon my name will come to me after death. I will take them to paradise. King David preached, from the rising of the sun to its setting, the name of the Lord is to be praised. And the world's oldest scripture, the Vedas of India, emphatically state, chant the holy name, chant the holy name, chant the holy name of the Lord. In this age of quarrel, there is no other way, no other way, no other way to attain spiritual enlightenment.
The special design of the Hare Krishna chant makes it easy to repeat and pleasant to hear. Spoken or sung by yourself or in a group, Hare Krishna invariably produces a joyful state of spiritual awareness, Krishna consciousness. Maha Mantra explanation. The sound Krishna and the original Krishna are the same. When we chant Hare Krishna and dance, Krishna is always dancing with us. Of course, we may say, well, I do not see him, But why do we put so much stress on seeing? Why not hearing? Seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, and hearing are all instruments for experience and knowledge. Why do we put such exclusive stress on seeing? A devotee does not wish to see Krishna. He is satisfied with simply hearing of Krishna. Seeing may eventually be there, but hearing should not be considered any less important. There are things which we hear but do not see. The wind may be whistling past our ears and we can hear it, but there is no possibility of seeing the wind. Since hearing is no less an important experience, or valid one than seeing, we can hear Krishna and realize his presence through the sound. Sri Krishna himself says, I am not there in my abode, or in the heart of the meditating yogi, where my pure devotees are singing. We can feel the presence of Krishna as we actually make progress.
Okay, these questions are actually for the next section. So just a little discussion on this. Of course, these principles are very nice. I mean, I've heard them for years, but yet I don't even hardly recognize them written down like this. So, it's actually very nice to once in a while go over these because it's very, it's very concise and a nice kind of nutshell on what we believe. Not what we believe, but, the tenets of philosophy. And the chanting, just like it's become very popular now for yoga groups to chant, but what they do is they'll take the names and they'll put them in a different configuration, because who wants to chant the same old thing all the time? Because they see it, many see it as something mundane, but just interesting. So, instead of, they'll throw in Krishna, but they'll, do it in another order, or they'll add another name, or they'll do different things. And someone that's, kind of innocent will say, well, what's the harm in that? They're all, I'm hearing, Radhe Shyam, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, or whatever. They have different chants, and you hear them in India as well. And they're kind of catchy, and they sound good, but the idea is that the 16 syllables of the Hare Krishna mantra, it's like a scientific, what's the word, not experiment, but
Formula?
Formula, there you go. Just like we have 2 parts oxygen and 2 parts hydrogen.
H2O.
Yeah. So if you add too much of one or not enough of the other, then you're not going to get, the experiment is not going to be there. You're not going to get it. So, but Krishna's name is so potent that even if it's thrown in somewhere else, you still get some potency. But, the way it's set out by Lord Chaitanya in those 16 syllables is the best way to chant. And, it's kind of like, the top 10 songs. You have to come up with a new idea and a new theme. So these yoga chanters, it's like something they come up with a new combination. I heard like one that was like really wild. It was, Durga, Kali, Krishna. And they threw them all in there and sort of mixed them all up. And, people are, just chanting. And because there is some potency there. We went to, Krishna Das came to town, and he was going to play at that Rialto Theater, and we catered there before. So I was calling to see if we could just set up prasadam for the people that came to the event, because it was very good and a good source of income, and it was fun to do, and people liked us being there. So somehow or other, in my request, they passed it on to Krishna Das's group, and the secretary called me and said, sure, you can make lunch for the band members. We'll cater some food from you. So I thought, well, something's better than nothing. I said, okay. So we prepared, some prasadam, we brought it down, and then the owners of the place, the venue said, you guys are coming to the concert, aren't you? And we're like, and they, no, be our guest, So we thought, well, let's go ahead and go. It's Gino and I. So they gave us good seats. We sat in about the 3rd row, and he comes out and he's kind of dressed like Bob. He's real casual with I jeans and a t-shirt on. And that appeals to people because if he comes out dressing like Jirel, they're going to think that's imposing on my own privacy and my independence. I don't want to have to dress like that. I want to be an ordinary fellow. So he came out there and he said something like, as they say in India, and then he said something in Yiddish or something, everyone's laughing, and it was kind of a very casual thing. But anyway, my point was he was chanting different mantras, and we were listening and looking at the reaction, and then I see up front there's Melina and her mother dancing. But then at the end, toward the end, he chanted Hare Krishna, and then the crowd really went wild, and people jumped up and started dancing. I saw it with my own eyes. And this happened also at the Wah concert too. That was at the Yoga Oasis. Also, we did some catering too for that. So then we got in, and she was singing all Durga and Ganapati and Ganesh and things, and people. But when she started chanting Hare Krishna, then people really became surcharged, and they probably didn't even, they just thought, well, the energy's rising, and now it's risen to a certain, so I'm going to rise up and dance. They didn't you don't realize that it's the potency of the Hare Krishna mantra. So, for devotees, for strict followers, then, it's considered, not first class, to listen to a bunch of hodgepodge, mantras and stuff. And there's bona fide mantras. There's Sitaram mantras, there's, Gopal mantras, there's Govinda Jaya Jaya, there's different ones that are, that are invested with transcendental energy that's passed down from the spiritual world. So, we try to stick with those as much as possible, because these other ones don't have as much potency. And, even though someone may say, well, that's nitpicking, that's not, that's a detail. And it is a detail, but when we consider that, we all have a certain amount of breaths, and after that, it's nothing. We just had the medic come for old Al here. He hasn't breathed his last yet, but, he's probably gonna come soon. He was, dancing around, a couple of days ago, and now he's, breathing, and, they came on a stretcher and, took him away. So, you never know when the last breath is. So we don't really want to, we don't have time really, to waste on dilly-dallying and, checking out and chanting other mantras and things, because we only have so many breaths, and, we want to reach the supreme destination. So, Prabhupada gave a lot of instructions on chanting and why, and, so much history and so many reasons and so many quotes, to encourage us to, see the importance and the reason, behind why we, chant certain mantras and not other mantras. And so I just wanted to point that out. Any other comments on that?
Well, if you want to chant those other mantras, if you want to really follow Srila Prabhupada, we should all, recognize how pure Srila Prabhupada is and how much he was doing things for us. He's telling us chant this mantra 16 rounds a day. So before you start into other mantras, make sure you do your 16 rounds first, and then see how you feel as far as chanting other mantras and whatnot. Once you get that practice going, you'll get attached to that, and other things that just naturally you won't feel attracted to. I think.
Today is the disappearance of Neem Bhattacharya, who was in another, we honor him, and so they chant Radha Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radha Radha, right? Hari Radha, Hari Radha.
Yeah, Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna, Radha
Something like
Krishna.
that. But that's their disciplic succession, and they chant that, and they, get their potency and things. So, it's not like there's just one mantra, there's many mantras, there's millions of mantras, and there's mantras in different, our Hail Mary full of grace is a mantra, it's a prayer, different things. But, we're trying to, be chaste, to this disciplic succession, and, get the result that is promising us. So, Sean, you think you have something to say? Joe?
I've heard in some kirtans, they'll chant the first half of the mantra, the call and response.
Right.
So it'll be Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. They'll say it back, and then the second part, call and response. That means potency.
I don't know. I do hear that sometimes. Not so much here, but like in Indian. I don't know if they think that people can't remember that many. They have to stop in the middle. or what, but once in a while I do hear that, and that's a really good question, and I don't know exactly, but I have heard that in like the really pure times. And certainly in yoga centers. But that's a good question to ask, Stephen. We're pretty safe with the Maha Mantra. But when you get into these other ones, especially the ones, there's at least ones like Om Namo Shivaya, at least that's like a bona fide Shiva chant, but if you get in, you mix it up, and even sometimes they mix up the rasa. Rasa means, taste and relationship. So, there's Radha and Krishna, Sita, Ram, all the Krishna and the different demigods have consorts, and so, it's like saying, I don't know, Sandamini and Jero, or Hey and Ruku, or, it's like weird, and so they mix them up and they'll say, Durga and Radha and, Ram and this one, and so, it not only doesn't it have the potency, but it actually, in some cases, becomes offensive. Like if someone said, how's your husband, so-and-so, and it's not, it's not in good taste, but, they're in most part ignorant because they're not, many of them aren't into kirtan. This is interesting. Govinda Mantri went to, this is another time he went to Minnesota, and he was kind of trying to pursue this, he has a great voice, and, but he wasn't really, he'd like to do that, but he wasn't really making any money or really getting anywhere, so he thought, well, let me hook up with some of these groups that play like the opening group for Krishna Das or for this one or that one, and then therefore I'll gradually work my way up and become a famous kirtan star. And so, he was with a group that was pretty good, and they were playing at the Bhakti Fest, and they opened for, I think it was David Stringer, who's you heard his name. He's one of the popular guys. And then after the concert, then they say, oh, let's everyone go get some pizza. So then he thought, here's my chance. I'm really going to rub elbows with these these kirtaneers and really learn their secrets, and maybe get in with them, and maybe I'll be playing with them like that. So he nestled up to David Stringer and got a seat right next to him. And first thing that happened was David Stringer ordered a pepperoni pizza. So he was a little turned off by that. And then he started asking him about mantras, like how is it that, where did you first hear these mantras? How have you, like that? And he said, oh, it's just what's popular. I'm going to come out with a country western one pretty soon. And, in the whole conversation, he was just like totally, deflated his whole idea, his romantic idea that these kirtaneers are, kind of, not that they're all in the same bag, but, someone that's up there and they're, chanting and, you think, wow, they have a lot of realization. But when he got up close and personal, he saw that, they were just, chanting's kind of cool now. It's, I'm riding the wave of the chanting, but, whatever the next big thing is, that's what I'm going to do. And then after that, the next big thing. So it wasn't to purify his heart, it wasn't to spread the holy name. So, hearing and, from these people really thinking that you're going to get any spiritual advancement out of it is, you're not going to get too much out of it. Even though, there's some potency there because of the name is potent, and, we feel something, and, better than, maybe rock and roll or something like that. But really it's very limited in the potency, and it actually can dilute or water down our own appreciation and understanding, of the holy name. So, any other discussion about that? It's an important, point that at least we should understand. Like, not that I never, sometimes, I'll go somewhere, to support Santa, and I'll be there, and, she'll be, saying this and that, and, I'm facing the audience, I don't want to not chant, but we definitely feel different.
Heard a nice analogy at the LA ashram. When you're flying co-piloting a 747, a 300,000 ton machine, and there's 500 passengers, and you're just in the air waiting for an instruction to be told how to land the plane. And you're completely dependent upon every single north and latitude and west instruction to get that plane on the ground. And similarly, likewise, the guru to instruct. And delineate a degree off, to the right or left, because everything is, fragile, and no one speak can land safely,
That's good.
Yeah, great example. Yeah, that's good. Of course, especially, living outside, working outside, sometimes it's not always practical to, follow all these things very, very strictly, but as much as we can, that's how much benefit we'll get. And at least we should know the difference. At least we should, we can maybe appreciate something, but know, well, that's not really the top notch. And then at least we have to, it's our duty to teach you and your duty to, know what's first class. We should know what's first class, what's second class, what's third class, and what's, totally unacceptable. And then, we have that knowledge, we're equipped with the knowledge.
The Christian mantra, the Hail Mary, the purpose is to memorize the mantra so that you can meditate on something else. So you're saying the mantra, but you're thinking about an aspect of the life of Christ. Is it similar? I mean, what are you thinking when you're saying the mantra?
Well, Prabhupada encouraged us just to, hear the sound vibration, that the name and the sound is non-different. They also talked about that a little bit here. So, to just Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. It's actually really hard. It's much easier to think of something else, and we catch ourselves all the time. So really, what we want to do is try to concentrate on the sound vibration, on the sound, and we can see that, in a second our mind is gone, and then we're somewhere else. Of course, the name, the form, the qualities of Krishna. Devotees have different techniques. Sometimes they like to look at pictures, or they like to meditate on a pastime. The best thing is just to hear. That, hearing and chanting, and it really takes a lot to control the mind, even through, I can't even say one whole round. I mean, even sometimes through one mantra, to hear, because it's constantly, there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, from wherever and from whatever and wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature. That's the nature of the mind, flickering and unsteady. One must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So, say the mantra and hear, and let that, just pronouncing each syllable and going to the next bead and not skipping beads and like that. That's the actual perfection. How much do I do that, and how much do I would just love to even be at the platform of just thinking of Krishna's pastimes, but instead I'm thinking, man, what do I gotta do now? I gotta finish my house by 6, I gotta get to the office, I gotta do this. And so that's really where we wanna keep the mind from. If we could be so fortunate to think of some pastimes of Krishna or something, then that's much better. But really the goal, the highest goal, is just to hear the mantra, hear that enter into our ear, and really concentrate on that.
Sometimes, you want to say a prayer to Krishna, but you know that Krishna's there in your heart, so you know that he kind of knows he already knows what you want to say. So if you're just chanting and focusing on the name, then you don't really have to say anything, but you're also communicating. So.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But prayer is also one of the 9 processes of devotional service, and the Bhagavatam is full of prayers. Sometimes there's chapters of prayers from, the demigods, the different, Lord Brahma's prayers, the Pracheta's prayers, Lord Shiva's prayers, just glorifying, Krishna. So prayers are also good, and sometimes I was at one point in my Krishna consciousness, I was thinking, well, I don't need to pray because Krishna already knows. So then I kind of got out of the habit of praying and not really, in the beginning, in the movement, like anything that would happen at the temple, you'd be telling the deities, like in the morning you'd say, Anne Bhakta Bob, distributed 1 book today, and, Father Jorge, got a new dhoti, he's offering it to you today. And, it was very, personal, and everything we would do would be like a prayer and an offering. And, then we got out of that, and then it became, so we don't want it to become mechanical, that's the thing, and go in and, we really want to, soften our heart by, especially like during, well, any time, but, during the aratiks, we're singing the prayers, that's why it's important to know the meanings of the prayers, we're thinking about them, but we're also praying, we're praying for, for strength, for encouragement, for realization, for humility, for, there's unlimited things to pray for. And Krishna knows, but it's for us. The prayer is sometimes for us to formulate, what we want to focus on, Krishna, I flare up a few times, I have a temper, or my false ego, or please allow me to be humble, or please let me serve your devotees, or whatever it is that we're working on and struggling with, then we offer that to Krishna. And then, then half the battle is won, because we're offering that, and then Krishna promises in Bhaktivedanta Gita, I carry what you lack, and I deserve what you have, so he reciprocates accordingly. So it's good for us to pray. Generally, it's recommended, not to pray for too much material things, because that's, he knows what's, and that's going to happen according to our karma. But spiritual advancement just doesn't happen. You have to really want it. You have to desire it. So therefore, you have to show Krishna by praying. So some of that, it's cold and dark. That's why he says he needs to go inside. That's why he's making some
Please shut that down.
look at that. Krishna, see?
He's like, I'm already there.
See the power of prayer. Any other discussion about it? I mean, these are wonderful topics, and these are. See, you weren't joking when you said the potency. The bird is feeling through the wall. Okay, let's just go to some quickly and get
This is the Chaupati book, Raghunath Swami's Temple in Bombay, etiquette book. I don't think we read any of the introduction last time, which has some nice general comments about the importance of Vaishnava etiquette, so I could just read it real quick. In the preface it says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the observance of Vaishnava etiquette is an ornament which makes the devotee beautiful and attractive in the eyes of God and in the eyes of the world. It is therefore very important for all devotees of the Lord to be well versed in the matters of such etiquette and lifestyle. Such information is scattered in different books, and a need was felt here for a comprehensive manual that would enumerate not only the basic principles of Vaishnava etiquette and lifestyle, but also would take into account specific issues and problems that pertain to conditions in our English centers. So then, part 1, introduction. It's kind of nice. It says, the matter of this manual has been compiled from sources like Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, and other books, letters, and instructions of Srila Prabhupada, and also from observations, suggestions of various devotees. Lord Chaitanya instructed Srila Sanatana Goswami about the behavior of a Vaishnava as follows. He gives some Bengali there from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anchalila. Translation is, my dear Sanatana, although you are the deliverer of the entire universe, and although even the demigods and great saints are purified by touching you, it is the characteristic of a devotee to observe and protect the Vaishnava etiquette. Maintenance of the Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. Sounds like a test question. What is the ornament of it? Well, what is the maintenance of Vaishnava etiquette? Is the ornament. Vaishnava etiquette is said to be the ornament of it. You hear that tonight. And then there's another verse quoted from Anchalila, Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says, if one transgresses the laws of etiquette, people make fun of him, and thus he is vanquished in both this world and the next. Also, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave 5 important instructions to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And there were things like scrutinizing and study all the revealed scriptures and get the essence of them, excavate holy places, build temples. But number 4 is, by their personal example, show the conduct of a Vaishnava and proper etiquette among Vaishnavas. Lord Chaitanya considered this to be the most important principle. Not only must we be philosophically strong, but we must understand how to have proper etiquette amongst each other, to our superiors, to juniors, to the Supreme Lord, and to conditioned souls. So it says, number 5, he told them to establish Vaishnava etiquette through their writings as well as through their behavior. And then it starts into the, going through different specifics of different parts of all of the different subtopics or topics in etiquette, beginning with etiquette within the temple. And we read this last time. I could go over some of it because, I mean, it's hard to, you hear this stuff and pretty soon you've forgotten a lot of it. Like even on this first page, I wonder if any of us, including me, remember. I sort of remember because I've done this now 3 or 4 times with new people. But the first little topic here is etiquette within the temple, being humble. It says, in the old days, kings would travel in palanquins. One regular principle is that one should never enter the temple in a palanquin. So don't do that. Or a car, or with shoes on. The idea is that one should give up one's kingly mentality. The mentality of being the Lord and Master, or whatever be one's qualifications, abilities, and social position. Should give that up. Amongst the devotees, particularly in temple, one's only designation is servant of the servant. Big letters. Servant of the servant.
I just had a little realization. The first time I was reading that, it's telling you to act a certain way when you walk into the temple, to lose all sense of pride, to really lower yourself. The first time I heard that, I was like, why? And then now that I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh, thank God, it's so nice just to surrender, to stop fighting, trying to think you're the Lord or have any qualifications. It's so nice just to let go and surrender.
It's true. It's a big burden to bear to be the big guy all the time. So you give that up. Relax. Thanks, Drew. And then the second part here is, upon entering the temple, one should first offer obeisances. Panchanga pranam. Pancha, like Panchatattva means the 5 truths. They're the 5, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Advaita, Shivas. Pancha means 5. So Panchanga pranam is when you bow down with your knees and touch your head. So there's, I think the 5 points are like the feet, the knees, the elbows, the hands, and the head. You shouldn't have something holding in your one hand, like your bead bag or something. You should put it somewhere and put these 5 things on the floor. That's the standard way to do it. And you should utter this certain prayer. I don't know if you've learned this yet, but Vancha Kalpatruvyas Chakri Pasantuvi, have you tried? Anybody learned that one?
Where is that? I've heard that.
It's one of our prayers, and it means I offer my respect. We do it in the morning program. If you don't come here Mangala, you mentioned over here. Yeah. So now we're